Okay, so here's the development story of my my group and me especially. So this is actually important because it's like basically the storyline of how this game was made. And I feel like that this is a good time to start making this video because I haven't before. And I want to let everyone know that I please want you to watch the entire thing. I'll try to make it as short as possible. So let me get into it. So my group Optuff Studios was named from first name like opt would be optism, OPTIZI wait OPTIZIM, uh which is my friend's name. So and then off would be Officer Bruh 0987, my username. So Optuff Studios was created around, I forgot the date. Now to explain the start would be when I was in seventh grade. I was still new to Roblox Studio. I actually started Roblox Studio when I was in sixth grade, and I met my friend Optism by playing Bro Citizens, etc. So moving on, around seventh grade, um, I was trying to make a game. It was actually called Realistic Forest, and the game just used a bunch of mesh trees. These are mesh trees as well, but they were like a square trunk. This was before I think surface appearance was added. I don't Maybe it was, but I don't know if I used it. I didn't even know what the beta features were. I didn't even know much about like a lot of stuff actually. So, um uh this was before I had my friend help me. So, moving on, fast forwarding time, I want to redo the game because I didn't like it, and then I asked my friend, "Hey, do you want to help me on this game?" And he's like, yeah, sure." So, and we've made other games together and stuff, so we both have experience, but again, we are still beginners and stuff. Even though we've been using Studio for like almost a year, we haven't really gotten in it too like advanced. So this is when we started to like start trying to make a game. So during that process, I just want to say this entire time was a learning experience. Like throughout this, I'm glad there was ups and downs because it really helped in the long run. So, moving on, when we started and it was a small map. We didn't even have terrain like this and stuff. Like it wasn't like super like natural bumpy. It was just flat. Thinking of like the Slender the Eight Pages map. Think Speaking of, this game is actually heavily inspired off of Slender the Eight Pages from 2012, made by Parsec Productions. So, um, moving on. During this time, um, it was just simple, okay, and again, we knew nothing much about Studio and whatnot. So, we were making the map, and it was like super like beginners ish, and we were using some like realistic mesh trees and stuff, but not as realistic as this. So we tried to do this, and then at times we would be like, let's redo the map. I don't like this part is not how we want it to be, so we would do that. And moving on, we would um we would like work on this like every Friday at 6 p.m. because that like at the time we learned that we're in the both same time zone, California, Southern, and um it was easier, especially like for communications and stuff. And we were just doing this as a fun project, and I just want to let everyone know that that's what Roblox should be, and that's what Roblox should be as. Like, I don't want this to be taken super seriously, and I hate people that will like ask to help work on my game and will start want to take something like this seriously when it's like just two friends working on a project together. And the sad thing is, a lot of people don't realize that because a lot of the stuff is built off of friendships, and sadly, people will try to take advantage of that and start putting like their business in and whatnot. And that's what a lot of most developers do. So I'm just gonna stereotype them, especially GFX creators. I don't like you guys. So, uh, um, moving on. It was it was like a friend like project and stuff. We weren't even trying to do it like super advanced. So moving on some more time, we start getting a little more advanced. Okay, this is when I actually started to learn how to script, and I still don't to this day. After almost 4 or 3 years working on Studio, I still don't know how to script. No, it's been like 3 years, not four. I'm not that old. Uh, so so we started getting a little more advanced. Okay, we 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 just learned about future lighting, and this is during the time when I had to make like a flashlight. You know, like how flashlights have like that circle of light with the rings around it, like from the shadows. That's what I was trying to learn at the time. So during this time, I was like this. When I learned it, it was actually a huge advancement, and other stuff. And this is when we had a different map and stuff. But then, of course, we had to redo that one. There were some assets and stuff we made. We're like, yeah, I don't want to we don't want to rebuild this, so we'll just upload it to our toolbox, private it and stuff yeah, because we don't really want to distribute it, because we have no use to. So we uploaded it. We uploaded it, or I did. I credit my friend's name. Um, and then like we'll be using like those assets, and I actually, we are going to be using those assets, but with material service. I'll just have to get my friend to help me with that. Uh, I know how to do material service, but I just want him to be able to select the material since it's his build. Uh, and this is specifically part of the story. Because these builds actually, like, is what we mostly did. We mostly built, like, some buildings and stuff, like, just assets. And this is actually before I knew how to use Blender, and I still don't know how to use Blender that much. I've gotten better at modeling, but not as advanced as I should. And during these times, we would be advancing in our knowledge. So, and then again, we had to redo the map because we wanted to try something different, etc. So moving on, I'm just gonna skip ahead of time just to save you guys time. I want you guys to be able to listen to this because I want this to inspire the developers. So this is when we started to actually like get super advanced where we had like scripts, we had an actual AI working, and everything I learned was from YouTube. All of this was from YouTube, and it's awesome. So like the Dev King, GamerMate, actually GamerMate, one of his systems I am using for my horror game and stuff. Check out his horror game system and stuff. He has an entire tutorial series of like a script system of like a objective and like GUIs will pop up and stuff of like text, and it's really cool. It's really worth the effort once at the end. And when we got to that point, actually, or before that, we just had parts that would like activate, and we still do now, but it's different. And it would activate text and stuff. So it was a little less lower quality than what we have right now. So we had a map. We were using like kind of like bumpy terrain a little bit. It was still kind of flat, but decent enough. And it was actually starting to get more realistic and stuff. And it was all going right until I downloaded a plugin because at the time we were learning about mesh terrain and surface appearance. And this was towards the end of making the map and finishing the game and getting it out. So it was also like self conflict with me of like, do I really want to redo the map to do this mesh terrain and put out the most realistic game on Roblox, or I could have that for chapter 2. So I thought of doing this idea of we'll have it at chapter 2 and we'll leave what we have for chapter 1 and we might update the map later, just so we don't have to get super stressed out. So that idea worked, of course. Now, moving on, as I said, I downloaded a bad plugin that inserted a line of script, like a line of script in my like a line of code into my scripts. I'll actually show it to you right now. I will have to go all the way down here, so please bear with me. I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can because I do not want to waste anyone else's time that I am taking right now. So I just had to go scrolling down here. I should be going up to it in a sec. Jump scares GUIs. Is there any scripts? No. Okay. Start a GUI. Toggle something GUI. Okay. So it's not there. It should be here somewhere. Yep. Maybe Game Pass's scripts. I want to show you what it put in my code. It should be here, everyone. So okay, so oh wait, maybe it's this. I might be able to find it. Jump scare death screen. No, not in there. But it would insert this line of code that would say last synced and the date and time I actually opened it up and stuff. And it would say require something this. And what would happen if I want to insert a new script, it would say it would like bring me down, like move my like camera like further down, like when you're in the code script or whatever. Oh, it's this. So whenever I would make a new script, it would say, dang, 2021. Yeah, and it would give all this. I don't even know what it did. And it was just super annoying. And it would mess with my output. And I had thousands of trees. Like, I don't know thousands, but lots of trees. And they each had a moving leaf script in them. So in my output, and not to mention the drafts, I had to commit everything. And it was like so long, giggity, that it was gonna take a few days to do. Here's the thing. Back then, I didn't have a good computer as I do right now. I was using the old family computer. Heck, that computer doesn't even have like a tower. It's literally all the parts built into the monitor. Because my dad wanted it modern. Obama. So, now, moving on. With that being said, I was like, hey, we have all of our assets and stuff. We've gotten so advanced, we can just move it and stuff. I'll delete the line of code to like all of them since that's faster than just redoing the map. But we can just redo the map, insert all of our other stuff since we finished all the scripting, then we should be good. So that was the plan. Now, at the time, we actually did decide, I think, to do mesh terrain. And that's when my inspiration for photorealism started. Like that's when like the spark like emitted. Like that's when everything happened. So I again I knew about mesh terrain. I was like, hey, why don't we use this? Why don't we use some Quixel Megascans? I know you can't, but I do, cause I feel special. Video end. Now, why don't we use stuff like this? So we only did use like this here for like the forest ground, just so it looks realistic and not like a desert. Oh no, we actually like used this. Yeah, that one right there as like the ground, and it looked fine. But here's the thing: because of how high poly these meshes are, like look at this. Like holy cow, and that's having to be rendered on the Roblox engine. Now, not to mention these trees. When I put them all together, like when we duplicated them, they were a lot bigger than your character, and it looked really bad. And the map was so big, giggity, it had to literally be redone again, right again. And this is when we had like GamerMate's system for horror games, and it was really cool. So again, we had all the scripting systems. We even had our AI for like a little maze since we can't really have it on Mesh Train, but I'm actually able to work that out with a friend who's really good at scripting. But moving on, that's off topic. So we had to redo the map again, and it was because like the map was so big, even though I cut a big chunk off that wasn't even being like you're not even able to go there and you're still having to render that out and it's like miles away. It's like think of this entire base plate being filled with terrain like this. So think about that. With your tiny character and your walk speed, etc., but still then, you're still having to render everything else here. And you don't need to do that. You can just have like a smaller version of the map and it'll help people that do have a good PC, but still, even with a PC like this, if I were to go through wireframe and back, I would get down to like 9 FPS down to that, and then it would like slowly go back up to 60 just by clicking wireframe because it would having to render all the triangles. So like, look, summary. Like it would do this. Look at my FPS as I select everything. It would do that, but think of it being me on wireframe. Like it would go down. So it was that bad. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna get any players into my game by this. So by doing this. So we redid the map. It was fine, and I had to break the news to my friend because it was hard because we just finished it. This is when we released it. This is when we actually got over like 300 visits. We got a bunch of likes. This is when we were actually like doing good and stuff. And it all came crashing down. And here we are now, having to here's the redid version of the game. So actually, the idea started around 2020. So it's been around almost 2 years. Not like a 2 year long project. And it's still going on. And now I wonder what you guys are thinking. My poor friend, like, is he being like paid in Robux to do this? Yes, but it's not being as professionally as you think. Like, I will split anything that's earned half of what we get. So since it's being made by two people only, no one else. Cause again, we're just both friends trying to make this, and he doesn't even want to get paid, but I feel bad for not doing that. So we will we split it evenly and stuff. And again, he's still stuck with me to this day after like he and it wasn't over after like a year. For him it was a year, for me it's 2. So after this time it was like, and then again, we were new to knowing how to make like I even know how to make some of my own assets in Blender. Some, but not too advanced. And it was like the entire thing was a learning experience. It really helps us in the long run, and it's still going on now. So I really think that the story here should inspire the developers. I'm sorry it took almost 20 minutes to explain, but it is that long of a story. So just know that like I've been working on this project for over like 2 years, and we haven't given up. Same story and stuff. And we even started learning about like skinned mesh characters now. We even know how to do that. Like realistic characters. So yeah. Anyways, I want to thank you everyone who's watching this. I really hope this inspired you to like not just give up on doing this, because there have been times to where I felt like giving up, because there have been times again like where I felt so bad because I had to tell my friend the news, because I was personally like, what's he gonna think and stuff. So I just want to say that try to take the serious level of doing this kind of down, because if you have it that high, you're maybe just gonna quit. So even though like yeah, you have a development team, you have to pay people, but again, realize that this is just Roblox. Okay, because at the end of the day, when you get older, you're gonna look back at this and be like, yeah, there's been things I've not been doing right and stuff. But it is good to get stuff started at an early age, just like me. It's like 14 right now. So I really think um that this is a really good opportunity for people to learn by watching this video. Anyways, thank you.